everybody, it's Keren here from tuppencecoloured.co.uk, and thank you very, very much for joining me today. This is the card that I've been making today. Now, it's a rocking mechanism. Little baby rocks backwards and forwards, and it actually will work when you tilt the card, but it's very, very difficult to show you because it needs to be upright like that, and then when I do that, you can't actually see anything much is happening, but it is. Oh, you can just about see it there. Yeah, just about see it. Now, I made a card like this last year because I found the instructions on a channel called May Made It, and the instructions that I followed at that time had the tilting mechanism towards the front of the card, and I wanted it to be very, very mysterious and at the back of the card. So I've had a go at adapting those instructions, and this is what I've come up with. These are the things that I'm using to make the card today. This is a piece of Blushing Bride card, which is 11.5 by 4 inches, and I've scored it and folded it at the 5 3/4 of an inch mark so that it's been folded in half. This is a piece of pink pirouette, and it is 3 7/8 of an inch by 5 5/8 of an inch. And this is from the Cupcakes and Carousels DSP, and it is 3 3/4 by 5 1/2. I'm going to be using the Moon Baby stamps and stamping with basic black ink. And I've got a piece of a very vanilla card and some shimmering white. I've got a couple of scraps of pink pirouette. I need some brads. Now, these have retired. These were our Candy Dots brad bases, but brads are widely available from craft suppliers. I'm going to be using my watercolour pencils, and I'm using some of the dies from the Up and Away set. I want to stamp out this little baby that's sleeping in the moon here, but I don't want that star at the bottom because it's going to be fiddly to cut out, and it's also going to be a weak point when the baby is rocking backwards and forwards. So if I'm not cutting that out, I also don't need this piece here because otherwise there's a string that's sort of going nowhere. So I want to stamp the image without that, and this is how I'm going to do it. I've got a piece of post-it tape here. Any sort of sticky tape will do, and I've just pulled off a couple of pieces that are just big enough just to fit over where I don't want that to appear. I'm not bothering about the star. I could cover that up as well. I'm not bothering about that because I'm just going to cut that off. Okay, so I'm going to take my basic black ink, and I'm just going to stamp up my ink up my stamp as I normally would, giving it a bit of a twist because it's basic black. And I'm just going to pull that away, and I'm just going to stamp onto my shimmering white. So I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there we go. Now there's a tiny little bit of string showing there and there, but you know what? Nobody's really going to notice that bit. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to colour the baby in. So there's the little baby, and I've coloured her in and I've cut her out, and I've done that off camera to try and keep the length of this video down to a reasonable level. And in a similar vein, I've gone ahead and I've mounted up the DSP onto the pink pirouette card. So now I want to decide where I want this to sit on the finished card, and I think that looks to be about where I want to go. So I'm going to get where's my pencil? It's right here. Here it is. So I'm going to take my pencil and I'm just going to make a little mark just there, just by the baby's back, just to give me a reference point. Alright, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a hole with my screw punch. Now the screen may wobble a bit because I work on a very flexible table, and this is not a Stampin' Up product, by the way, but I will put a link below to somewhere to get it. So all I need to do is push down and I am going to have to give that some welly. Alright, so now I've made a hole in the middle of my card. To make the pendulum mechanism that makes the action happen, I've cut a strip of pink pirouette card, which is about the width of a penny and about, 3 inches long. I can trim it down when I want to, so I'm going to just fold over my piece of card here, and I'm just going to bring in my my stapler, and I'm going to staple as close as I can get to the edge of the penny and squash it down. Okay. Now, as you can see, the staple hasn't gone all the way through, but that doesn't matter because that's only just to hold it in place until I can get my sticky tape. And this is just the ordinary sticky tape that you get from the stationers. Nothing fancy about it at all. It's just here to make sure that that penny doesn't come sliding out of the little home that we've made for it there. Okay, I'm just going to wrap a few layers round just to be very, very sure that that's not going to come out anytime soon. Where have my scissors gone? There they are. Just clean that off with my snips. And something that I could have done before I did that, but I didn't, so I'm going to do it now. I'm just going to punch a hole just at the top of that there, just like that. This is going to go onto the back of my card so nobody can see the mechanism when it's working. And I'm just going to pop a dimensional over that hole there. And I'm going to punch a hole through it. There we go. Just using the same punch that I did before. So that's now got a piece of dimensional stuck to it, so I shall just clean that off. There we go. And that's going to sit onto the back of the card like that, and the brad is going to go through the hole in the middle. And I'm just going to close it down. But I'm going to make it, and I'm not going to make it a tight closure, if that's the word I want. I'm just going to curl the legs of the brad just over my my pokey tool there, just to make the mechanism swing quite freely. Okay, I can't really see that there because the there's nothing to show that it's moving, but it is swinging. Right, now I want to make sure that this stays in the down position while I'm positioning my front piece on there. So I'm just going to put a bit of low tack tape onto the pendulum at the back there, just to keep it down, so I don't stick my baby on upside down. Right, so here's my little baby. And I'm going to put some dimensionals just out on the corners out here, and again I'm going to leave the backs on them, alright, because these are for these are for help to help the piece move freely. And I've got a glue dot which I'm putting onto the top of my brad here, and I'm just going to position my little baby where I want him to be, and around about there. Looks pretty good. Now the nice thing about shimmery white card is that it is a little bit forgiving if you decide you stuck something in the wrong place. As long as you don't really burnish things down, it will kind of will allow you to reposition things. So if I move that with my finger, and yeah, there goes my baby. Rock-a-bye baby up in the clouds. Yes, okay, that's enough. And actually I think that is a little bit high up, so I'm just going to remove that glue dot and replace it with another one. And let's put the baby Make sure that's in the down position, because now I've removed the low tack tape. Okay, so let's try that. How does that work? Yeah, I like that better. Okay, so I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to turn the card back over, and I want to put some stoppers in to stop this moving too far, because if it goes too far, poor little baby is going to land on its head, and that would not be good. Nobody would want to see that happen. So I have some of the foam tape, and I'm just going to cut a couple of pieces just to stop the mechanism from going too far. So I think that's about far enough on this side. So now when it swings, it'll bump up against that tape, strip, and about the same on the other side. So now a pendulum swings freely between those 2 points, and the baby will rock between those 2 points, just like that. I stamped Hello Baby onto very vanilla card with basic black ink, and I have gone and die cut a load of clouds from the Up and Away Thinlits, and I'm just going to finish this one off because I wanted them to have a sort of you know, a kind of pinkish tinge to the edge. So I've got the Calypso Coral watercolour pencil, and I'm just very lightly just shading in around the edges of the cloud here. Yeah, and it is making my tripod wobble a little bit, so I'm hoping that iMovie can do its magic and stop this one from being quite so shaky. So it's got, I'm not sure how well you can see it, but it just has a little edge of pink in there. That's not much better. The lights aren't. The light today isn't fabulous, I have to say. Okay, so I'm just going to blur that a little bit with my finger. I could use my paper stumps if I wanted to. And now I'm just going to go and arrange these onto the front of the card. So I'm going to keep that for my sentiment, and let's have... I've arranged most of these where I want them, but this one I'm going to put up onto a couple of dimensionals. So I'm just going to pop the dimensionals onto the back there. And just decide whereabouts I want that. And I think I like it there, so that's where I'm going to put it. And that is the front of my card finished. All that's left to do now is to put it onto the card base, and I've gone ahead and I've put some more foam tape onto the back of it. So I'm just going to take off the backing pieces when they want to come. Now I don't have to take the backing off those two pieces, because they're not there to hold anything together. They're just there to stop the pendulum from moving around too much. So let's bring this in, and now it's a very, very close fit to the front of the card. There's only about a 1/16 of an inch all around, so I'm just going to pop that down. You can just see a hair, just a teensy tiny bit of the Bermuda Bay Blushing Bride showing underneath right now. So there is my little rocking baby, and if I tilt the card, I hope you can see that it does rock from side to side. And it's just a really fun little mechanism, and I've really enjoyed making it, and I hope that you've enjoyed this video. And if so, then click that like button, subscribe to my channel, share this video, leave me a comment below, or better yet, hop on over to my Facebook page and leave me a picture of what you've been up to. I would really like to see what you've been making. That is it for now, and thank you very, very much for joining me, and I hope I will see you again soon. Bye bye.